Alrighty, we are live. Howdy, Stokastic. What's going on? It is Sunday morning. It is hot here in Florida. It is hot across most of the outdoor venues, especially on the early slate. We've got a couple differences. You have FanDuel is locking at 135 today. DraftKings is locking at 105, as is Yahoo, but the Yahoo main slate technically is a 405 lock. Not the fair. Got you covered for all that in the Spotlight Pitchers Top Stacks article. Thank you for someone pointing out to me that Tyler Glasnow is a righty, not a lefty. Writing that at the ass crack of dawn this morning. Things are just, you're a little rummy when the dog wakes you up early. You got to take her out, and then you start writing an article. Woe is me, Matt. How are your first world problems?
I'm good. And as much as I like to have your back, man, I don't know. Like, that seems pretty inexcusable. Glasnow's been around forever. Power throwing righty. Like, on what earth did you think he was a left-handed pitcher?
The sleep-deprived mind.
That's fair. Listen, I've been there. I'm not trying to give you more of a hard time. Just funny. Yeah, he's a really
I
good
had a 50-50 shot. Come on.
Fair.
Now, fortunately, it was not I did not make him a featured pitcher, but I wrote up just one sentence. And I will say, please note, Glasnow is indeed right-handed. Sorry for the confusion. There we go. And this is me trying to do giving extra picks, and I still screw it up. All right. Enough about me. Let's talk more about me, my favorite topic. Okay, enough humor. Let's get down to brass tacks here, because we have some good pitchers in some tricky situations today. We've got some potential point per dollar plays in some better matchups, but they have question marks of their own. We have Zack Wheeler at the top of the charts, double the chance pretty much of the next best pitchers here of being a top 2 pitcher on DraftKings. So we are going to start with him. He is taking on the Texas Rangers in Arlington. We saw Jesus Luzardo escape not only with the good outing, he ended up getting the win last night. So that was kind of fun. The dichotomy of Luzardo, Wheeler, and then Christopher Sanchez. That's a great setup for Wheeler and then for Sanchez here. So what are your thoughts on Wheeler tonight or this afternoon?
Ranger Suarez in that mix also. And
yes.
Don't forget Aaron Nola when he comes back.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Kind of like Seattle. Pretty good. I like both those teams a lot. So, man, my biggest thing about Wheeler is I'm slightly concerned about his shoulder stiffness, which has caused him to be pushed back here a couple days. That said, he threw a bullpen session. Seems fine. If they're throwing him out there, I'm sure he's fine. Obviously, anything can happen during the game. My, antennas are raised slightly, but he's by far the best pitcher on the slate. You're paying full price for him, but he's so far and away the top guy here. It's hard to get away from him. There are cheap bats scattered all over Sunday lineups. It's always a thing. So I like Wheeler a lot here. I do think there are probably more red flags than normal with an 11-4 pitcher getting 60% ownership, but such is life on this slate.
Yeah, and that's similar concerns that I have with him as well. And he did not get the featured write-up because of those questions. He got mentioned in the article, of course, because we can't knock these Apex aces, especially since he is still has the second best odds behind Paul Skeens to get the National League Cy Young Award. I think this is his age 35 season. He is essentially doing career numbers across most categories. So it's been a great year. Just a little whiff of concern in this one. And we have some other guys that are other pitchers, I think, that are reasonably close, even though when we look at the model here, he stands out well above everybody. The next guy up who is a little spendy is Max Fried. He will be taking on Houston with their, let me get that lineup up, with their mostly right-handed lineup. We know that Houston, it doesn't even matter who's in the lineup anymore. They have been excellent against lefties for the better part of the last decade. So we know that's going to be a tough matchup, but Fried does offer strikeout upside, which of course that is the currency of the realm in the DFS world here. Are you feeling a little bit better about Max Fried as opposed to Zack Wheeler?
No, I'm not. Matchup's not good. I mean, Houston, obviously, ton of right-handed bats, and he doesn't offer the strikeout upside you want at 10-7. I mean, he's expensive, and he's a really good real-life pitcher, but you're paying for that real-life goodness. His strikeout rate and upside is not as high as guys like Wheeler, guys on in the afternoon slate, which we'll talk about briefly at the end of the show. And in a non-great spot, I have a tough time paying 10-7 for Fried here. My big argument for Fried is he's going to be a third of his owned as Wheeler, and Wheeler has some red flags as far as his health. But other than that, I mean, I can't see playing Fried over Wheeler just based on, like, you think he projects better, because he doesn't.
All right, 30% strikeout rate for the lineup this season against lefties for Houston. 5 hitters above league average. Jose Altuve is kind of, we'll move him back. We'll call it 4 above league average when it comes to strikeouts, but you've got 4 guys well below league average as well. 23.3% strikeout rate for Fried this year, 23.1 last year. Not that 25, 26 or better that we're looking at from the true aces, the 2 dozen frontline starters here, but still worthy of consideration. Anything can happen on any given day in baseball.
Totally. Anything can happen. Fried could easily outscore Wheeler here, but Wheeler's got a 33.5% K rate this season. So, like,
agreed.
You know,
hey, Patrick Corbin could have a complete game. One never knows.
Certainly. I mean, you throw in like the shoulder problems for Wheeler. You never know. I'm with you. If I were not playing Wheeler, I probably would just spend down. But Fried is, after Wheeler, the best pitcher on the slate. So I get it.
So here's an sticking on Wheeler, but we're going to flip to the bats. 57% projected popularity for Wheeler on DraftKings. That's a negative 25% leverage. I still think that's reasonable and appropriate when you have the top pitcher here. Do you consider any leverage stacks against him jumping ahead here? I really don't with Texas.
No, but I don't mind playing like a bat or two of Texas, even in Wheeler lineups. They've got some good hitters individually that are cheap. I don't really want to stack them here, but if I were playing 150, I would be over the field, because all of a sudden the shoulder starts flaring up and he's out of the game. He's 60% owned. There's a lot of leverage in Texas, and they're a good enough offense as is, in my opinion. I know they rank really, really low in the top stack tool, and I get that, but like, I don't think the top stack tool is incorporating like all the things that, a human can that a tool can't,
Yes, very, very fair on that. Plus, the other thing is there's always the bullpen that can come in and rescue Wheeler. It's not like he's going to have to go out and gut through these things. Okay, back to pitching here. We kind of have a scrum with our next half dozen guys. I like Slade Ciccone going against the White Sox. It was a bit of an adventure yesterday for Joey Cantillo. He ended up getting there, survived a couple of jams. I think Ciccone is interesting. Mike Burrows is in Pittsburgh taking on Cincinnati. On the other side, you have Zack Little going against him. Both those guys, I think, are in play. And then you potentially have Sean Manaea going against Milwaukee. Now, despite having one of the best records in baseball, Milwaukee is never a terrifying offense to go against, but they get you with 1,000 paper cuts and they don't strike out a lot. So that, for me, makes it a little less enthralling to go with Manaea. How do you feel about our second wave of pitchers?
I don't feel great about any of them. I do think I like Manaea as much or slightly more than Fried. So at 9,400, I think he's the best pivot away from Wheeler, even in a tougher spot. But I don't really like any of these guys, and none of them project well. So I think I'm going to go a little bit cheaper for SP2. I mean, Littell coming off that monster game last time out. Can't even remember who it was against, but it was someone decent. At the Cubs, threw a really good game. Threw a really good game against them. You know, I could see going back to him in a really good spot here in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. Not excited about it, but out of this group, he's probably my favorite. Ciccone, I think you're just paying for the matchup. He's not an $8,500 pitcher. Results-wise, he's been pretty good this year, but his underlying numbers and expected numbers aren't good. And I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop. It hasn't. I'm not playing him, though. Like, especially at this price point. He's not even getting ownership, and I'm still not really feeling it. So I'm out on Ciccone. And you mentioned Corbin, though, earlier. He's fourth in the top pitcher tool. I'm a little hesitant to that, but it says something. Very flat after Wheeler, though.
Yeah, and with Ciccone, so the thing about him is he doesn't have a lot of strikeouts. 19% last year, barely over 20% this year. But like you said, it's the matchup. We have the Chicago White Sox lineup has close to a 27% strikeout rate this season against righties. I was flipping between whoever was pitching for Luzardo or Cantillo last night. So I heard a fair amount about the White Sox offense, and they're not bad. Like, they're not horrible players, and they've got a lot of young guys.
They've been a lot better the past month and a half.
Yeah, there's just no good guy aside from Luis Robert, who is this season against righties. So it's one of those where you every guy that was coming up, they had something good to say. You know, Lennon Sosa, Colson Montgomery, even Curtis Mead, Kyle Teal. And I was like, oh wow, that is kind of promising. Now, are those guys there right now? No, they're not. But they're not horrid players by any stretch. So no real easy outs here. But collectively, it's a young, inexperienced team, aside from veterans Andrew Benintendi, Mike Tauchman, and then, of course, Luis Robert. All right, that is my Ciccone love there. Let me go look at so I don't know where to really put Mike Burrows in. This is kind of Cincinnati out of Great American Ballpark. Okay, that's a bonus. The Cincinnati lineup doesn't offer up a lot of strikeouts today. Only 18% this season, just 2 players above league average. So it's more about Burrows with a little bit of run prevention. And then with Burrows, where is the truth? What is the truth when it comes to his strikeouts? 23% or so this year, feels about a little bit above where he ought to be. But again, got to start 2 pitchers here on DraftKings, so he is someone in consideration. Stack him up. I know you mentioned Zach Liddell. Stack him up against Liddell a little bit in this better ballpark for pitching.
Yeah, they kind of look similar to me. Burrow, I think, has better stuff than Littell. Littell is the better pitcher right now. Obviously, Burrows is very young. I don't know, though. I think I do prefer Burrows. He's got a higher top pitcher percentage, basically the same ownership. You get this Cincinnati team out of Great American, as you talked about. He's a little bit cheaper, better strikeout upside. His expected numbers are better. I don't love either of them, but I'm with you, actually. Now that you made me look at it, I think I like Burrows more than even Littell in that group, but I'm not sure I was counting Burrows in that group because I don't think you mentioned it previously.
Yeah, it's an interesting look when you start poking around with it there.
Yeah. Why not Burrows, I guess?
Yeah. I see some people asking about, they're talking with projections. If somebody hasn't mentioned, I think some people are referencing FanDuel projections. And some may be looking at DraftKings. Like if you're looking at Davis Martin, he's 23, but that's FanDuel. On where is he? DraftKings, he's 11.4. So that's probably where the confusion is. So sorry to insert myself in that particular conversation, but I was worried as well that somehow some of the tools were off. So I might need to alert somebody. All righty. Continuing on here with pitching, is there anybody else worthy of a mention? Could it be Davis Martin? Could it be Casey Mize going against the Angels?
I wanted to like Mize a lot going against an Angels team, obviously playing an early Eastern game. Always like pitchers against West Coast teams in that situation, but he's just too expensive for his strikeout upside in this matchup. So I'm out on Mize, even though I don't mind him. The guy I'm in on, though, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned yet. He projects better than most of the guys we've mentioned, and he's cheaper. Cade Povich. He gives up runs. His expected ERA isn't good, but he strikes out 25% of hitters. You get a really weak Oakland lineup or Athletics lineup, and he's been better lately. So I don't feel good about it, but he's 6K. He projects, across not just for us, but across the industry. Like he projects for, basically the same amount of fantasy points as everyone, but Fried, Minaya, and Wheeler. Give or take 1 or 2 points here or there. So I'm in on Povich. I don't love it, but it's just the right spot at the right tag. Another guy facing a West Coast team in an early East Coast game. So, yeah, I'm in on Povich. I don't feel good about it. I don't have many endearing things to say about him, but I don't like pitching on this slate. He's the cheapest of basically all of them, and he's got a higher strikeout percentage than all but like 2 guys on this slate. So that's it.
I couldn't quite get there when I see just all the power that is sitting there on the Oakland line, or pardon me, the Athletics lineup. Now, that is including their games in West Sacramento. If I look at the 2-year span, so now we're getting back into whatever they're calling Oakland Alameda County Stadium or whatever it was, they still are really, really good when it comes to power.
They are, and they have power, but man, this lineup, like
they have some strikeouts.
Oh yeah, so Langoliers, Rooker, Kurtz, lethal top 3 for sure. Then 6 through 9, Colby Thomas, Daryl Hernandez, JJ Bleday, who's been good, but lefty on lefty, Gio Urshela, Willie McIver, Max Schumann. Like the top 3 could burn him. He could give up 3 homers to the first 3 guys, but if he can get through Langoliers, Rooker, and Kurtz, I think Povich has real upside here at this tag.
Yeah, you're looking at some 3 up, 3 down inning potential there in the back half of the lineup. The last 2/3 of the lineup. So okay, you got me. It's $6,000. I'm in. Got to have some SP2s here. Anything else on pitching?
I do not think so.
Well, I've got a pitch here. Hey, it's how can you get free Portfolio EV? 7-day free trial for anyone who has not yet signed up for Portfolio EV. That is in the YouTube description below us here, the link that will get you into that goodness. This is our top-down betting model that pits the rest of the books against each other, elevating the best bets up to the top. It is geolocated by state. It also supports the social sites as well as the pick'em sites. So you definitely want to check that out. That is Portfolio EV. Stop guessing. Start winning. You know who started winning and has continued winning? That would be Amy. Amy won the one entry, and she won the $5 pick'em last night for $1,000, Matt.
That's awesome.
She did. I can tell she didn't use the lineup I gave because mine didn't do so well. But that is now $2,000 wins for her in the last week. So she gave us a nice $19 super chat there. We will definitely talk about tiers a little bit later here in the show. But let's switch over to hitting. So let's go game by game here just to call out our various notes. I'm going to bring the top stacks tool up here. The one difference for today is, as we mentioned, DraftKings is locking at 105. So you get the Kansas City Royals in Minnesota. It is Ryan Bergert going for the Royals. You have Jose Urena making another start here for the Twins. Urena, of course, is on his 4th team this season. Matt, it's kind of weird seeing Mike Yastrzemski at the top of the Kansas City order, but here we are. How are you feeling about this game? Because it is popping as a good opportunity here on DraftKings stacks. We have Kansas City as the third best stack.
Yeah, so I think both sides are in play here, but I do really like Kansas City here. It's interesting. So Bobby Witt, obviously very expensive, also their best hitter. He's out of the lineup today. So before that, they were projecting to be the highest owned team.
Yep.
Now they're just kind of falling right in line with the rest of the teams, because even though they're a much better value stack, you don't really need that value today, because outside of Wheeler, there aren't like two SPs to spend up on. You can with Fried, but he's not popular. And the Fried-Wheeler combination is not going to be popular. So like the KC lineup as a result is not going to be as highly owned as they once were. And I like them a lot here. I mean, there are a few pitchers on this slate that I'll stack against on any given slate, but I think Urania takes the cake. He's the worst of the worst. I mean, he stinks. No reason for him to be still in MLB at this point in time. He's been horrendous this season against right-handed hitters. So I'm really I like the whole stack, but the righties in particular get me excited, because I think that they'll be a little bit less owned. Yastrzemski looks great leading off. I do think that there's some pinch hit risk with him. They've even made a point to say on the broadcast they're kind of treating him and Randall Grichuk as one guy. I know they both started yesterday, but like in any given game when a lefty comes in, they're more than likely going to bring in Grichuk. That said, Yastrzemski finds himself in a great spot leading off against Urania. So 1 through 9, I think this stack is in play, not getting a ton of ownership. I like the Royals a lot here.
All right. On the Minnesota side, it's really kind of concentrated there. Cody Clemens, Ryan Jeffers, Luke Keyshaw are the guys to target, along with Trevor Larnach, who is solid against righties, but not as deep of a lineup for Minnesota. They, of course, traded a bunch of pitchers and hitters. What did they trade? Like 8 or 9 of their 25 active roster at the trade deadline. So a lot of new faces in here for Minnesota today, with Austin Martin, Alan Roden, etc., Mickey Gasper, and Ryan Fitzgerald. Any particular call-outs from the Minnesota side?
Yeah, I think Kershaw, the 1 through 4, Roden, Keyshaw, Jeffers, Clemens. I mean, I know that the tools really like those guys as well, so you could do a lot worse.
All right, let's move on to Camden Yards. It is going to be in the mid to upper 80s for this game. We saw the ball jumping off the bats yesterday. Looks like it's probably going to happen again today. You have Luis Morales, who is making the start. If I remember correctly, he made one appearance, 2 innings about a week ago. He had been a starter in the minors. They then moved him into like a multi-inning reliever role. He's probably good for 50 or 60 pitches, 3 maybe 4 innings if he is lucky. But you've got the disappointing Orioles this season, still profile very, very well against righties. I like their top 5. That includes Ryan Mountcastle, who just returned. Of course, Tyler O'Neill and Colton Cowser ended up going on the injured list. I forget what O'Neill's injury was, but Cowser has a concussion. So added 1, lost 2. How do you feel about the Orioles?
They look good here. You mentioned the opener isn't very good. Then they're bringing in Osvaldo Bido. I think he's projected to come in. He's not very good.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Again, it's a slate with a lot of that. A bunch of pitchers we want to target against. Baltimore looks very, very good here. I don't think that anyone who has them as their top stack is out of their minds at all. The Yankees, the Tigers, the Royals, the Orioles, the Athletics, who we're about to talk about. There's a bunch of good stacks today. Baltimore's right in that mix for sure.
All right. We sort of hit on the Athletics when you mentioned Povich.
Yeah, we did.
So we'll skip over them in the interest.
What I'll say real quick, you joked about the bottom, or I joked about the bottom of their lineup, but Povich isn't very good either. And those guys are cheap. So, like, there's something to be said for stacking the Athletics here, getting to some guys you're uncomfortable with, especially if Povich gets ownership. I'm on the Povich side, but just food for thought there.
All right, that brings us to the Yankees against Jason Alexander. We mentioned yesterday about undrafted free agents in baseball. Hey, Jason Alexander, also that signed in 2017 by the Angels, was released during the pandemic year when they canceled the minor league season. He never got above AA. 2021, he signed with Miami, never got above AA. Left Miami, signed with Milwaukee, made it to AAA, and then the next year he was with Boston, also made it to AAA, and then finally to the Athletics, where he made it to the show. Perseverance helped him, but he was so bad he was designated for assignment. Immediately signed by Houston a couple days later. I wrote in the article, the perseverance is impressive. The rest of it's not. Love all the Yankees today. Sorry, Jason Alexander.
Yeah, any chance you get to go stack against a Seinfeld character, always interested. So that's what we have here. I mean, he's not very good. Great ballpark for hitting. Yankees are projected to be the highest owned team. Do with that what you will. They look very good here. I think I like Kansas City slightly more, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, the Yankees look great in this spot.
Yep. The only Yankee that's really going to break the bank is Aaron Judge, which makes sense. He is having yet another amazing season. And then Cody Bellinger on DraftKings and Yahoo is a little bit expensive. Everybody else, totally palatable. And as you mentioned, with the various Sunday lineups out there, a couple cheap guys in decent spots in other lineups, it's not that hard to stack the Yankees. So I do not feel bad as calling them out as my favorite stack of the day, because it is completely feasible to get them in your lineups. We talked about Max Fried. All right, we got both sides are game here. Atlanta, Miami. You were all fired up for that yesterday with the good hitting weather. How are you feeling today with Joey Wentz and Cal Quantrill on the bump?
Yeah, Quantrill's a guy I love stacking against. Stacked against him for like 10 straight starts. Of course, the last start he was on wasn't on a slate. So, yeah, just sucks. Got destroyed by the Astros. Was such a good spot for Houston because Quantrill is a big reverse splits guy. He gets destroyed by righties. He's actually decent against lefties. So, I like the Atlanta righties here. They got a ton of lefties in their lineup, though. The righties are the guys that I like the most. Doesn't mean the lefties are bad plays because Quantrill isn't a great pitcher in general, but he's particularly bad against right-handed hitters. Ozuna, Murphy, two guys that stand out for me that I don't think get a lot of love. Ozuna's really cheap and seeing the ball well right now. So I think the Braves are wildly in play, but I like them more as like mini stacks or one-offs.
Okay. That's pretty fair. And to your point, to quantify it, 243 righty-righty matchups for Quantrill, allowing a 270 isolated power. Basically makes everybody look like Bryce Harper or Aaron Judge against him. Pretty impressive for the opposing team. On the Miami side here, they're going against Joey Wentz. Wentz strikeouts have fallen off the shelf this year, down to just under 21%, down from 24% last year. Not a ton of power in this Miami lineup today against lefties, but they do have some decent contact hitters. So I think they can string things together. How are you feeling about Miami?
I'm out on the Marlins here. I don't think they're a bad stack by any means. I just like the other ones, some other ones more. No Agustin Ramirez here, obviously a big bat in their lineup. I like Miami here. If I were playing 10 plus lineups, I'd probably get into some Miami, but I'm not in my limited lineups. Not that I think Wentz is a great pitcher. I just think there are worse pitchers on this slate.
All right, let's take a pause for the cause here. I want to remind everybody that we have our link join offer That is, Nightbot has been dropping that into chat. I will do the same here. And just to remind everybody, if you sign up for any of these sites here on this page, you got to click our button, click through our claim offer button. Not only do you get whatever the initial deposit match is from the site, but if you follow the simple steps listed up at the top here of 1, clicking through the link, 2, signing up, making a deposit, placing a bet or pick'em card. Once that bet or pick'em card has settled, send a screenshot of that along with your welcome email to support@stokastic.com, and we will get you set up for 1 month of single sport sims. Easy peasy. Check that out. That is the Stokastic link join offer. Am I sparking up? No, I don't. I haven't. My wife wants me to get a medical card so I can get some gummies. Isn't that interesting? I haven't had THC aside from contact since probably 1998. If I had
that makes one of us.
That makes one of us. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is definitely legal here now. Not in Florida though. You're right. Obviously.
Yeah. No, but it almost seems that way because literally every other block or every other strip mall has a smoke shop. So, and right next to it is usually a medical marijuana office.
Ton of smoke shops in Florida and ton of medical marijuana offices. And yeah, definitely.
And my thoughts on it are just make it legal. It's not that big of a deal anymore. But please do not drive impaired. That's the one ask I have. Do not operate motor vehicles if you are impaired. Any Detroit love here, Jeff Williams wants to know, well, we're going to get to the Motor City Kitties here because I haven't talked about them in a while, said that phrase, so we definitely are going to need to. That'll be 2 games from now. We've got Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Mentioned that we kind of liked both pitchers. Nothing terrifying for either offense. I think O'Neal Cruz and Ellie De La Cruz are the 2 guys that you would like to roster. They're great as one-offs, but I'm not enthralled by stacking either of these teams with so many other potential matchups here. How do you feel about this game? Is it kind of pitching only?
Yeah, probably pitching only. On a lot of slates, I could get on board with the offenses. Like, I don't think that Littell isn't very good. Burrows is mediocre, at least at this point. But there are just so many worse pitchers on this slate, and there are much better offensive environments. So tough to me to want to prioritize offense in this game. I'm with you. All
right, here we go. It is the Detroit Tigers, the Motor City Kitties against Jack Konowitz here. Konowitz, batting practice pitcher at best. He has improved his strikeout rate to 15% this year. Last year it was 9.4% across 265 batters. That's almost impossible. 15%, still not that great. His swinging strike rate is 9%. His barrel rate is 8.3. Hate to see those numbers that close if you're a pitcher or a fan of the Angels. If you're a fan of the Tigers, that is music to your ears. I think we go, 6 deep on the Tigers lineup here. What do you want to do here with the vaunted Motor City Kitties?
Yeah, they look great here. Kahanowicz is awful against lefties. And Detroit's got some good ones in there. Colt Keith leading off. Torres has been great this year, even from the right side. So obviously don't mind him in a stack. Then you got the 2 big boys in Carpenter, Riley Green. Riley Green has been slumping big time for a while. But I had a feeling about James Wood yesterday, and he went yard, and I kind of feel the same about Riley Green today. So I think today's the day, and in about as good of a spot as you can get for Riley Green, that he gets off the schneid. I like Detroit a lot here. They're expensive. I prefer their lefties, but they're one of the top stacks. Could make the case that they are the top stack overall on the board today.
Yeah, on FanDuel, where we do not have that Minnesota-Kansas City game, Detroit is the projected top stack, 12% chance of being the top stack. They're also the second best value stack, basically tied there with Baltimore, and they are going to be the 3rd most popular stack in tournaments, still at just under 10%. So a little bit of positive leverage actually there for Detroit. Hopefully that helped answer your questions, Jeff. I see a quick question here. Well, we got some time. I'm going to mention it. It says, when it comes to building a lineup, what are the most important things to prioritize? For baseball, that's going to change every day just based upon what the slate gives us. Today, there are not any surefire must-play pitchers, even when there are, such as Tariq Skubal a couple slates ago. I think things can go sideways. It's a baseball. Today, we have a couple question marks about Max Fried, about Zack Wheeler with current form and potential shoulder fatigue. So they're not as exciting today. That's where we look at some of our other guys lower down the list. You want to look at, there's almost always, unless you get on some weird short slate, you're almost always going to find a team that you can stack. So it just depends day by day. As to which should be your priority. The great thing about baseball is when we get all these afternoon slates and sub slates and travel days, you get about 225 slates of 5 or more games. So that is like 20 times what you get in the NFL. It means you get a lot more opportunities here to get in the weeds and understand and embrace the variance of baseball. But there is no real pat answer here other than the tried and true is get at least the most trustworthy pitcher. Now that's going to vary by all of us, right? But the most trustworthy pitcher, and then pick on the worst pitcher. That's usually a good starting point for baseball. Torkelson or Carpenter for your Detroit stack?
I mean, in this spot, it's easily Carpenter. Conowitz gets destroyed by lefties, and he's okay against righties. So if choosing one, it's got to be Carpenter.
Alrighty. We got a couple more games here, 3 to go. Milwaukee hosting the Mets. We lightly touched on Sean Manaea getting the start here. The projected lineup for Milwaukee has around a 20% strikeout rate against lefties. Only one player, and that's Christian Yelich, strikes out above average against lefties. Bryce Terang is a tick above league average, but not significantly. Everybody else is well below league average. So that makes things a little tough there for Manaea. Manaea doing a decent job, granted, very small sample size because he was injured for this year. But if we look back to last year, does a decent job of limiting power. That's something that throughout the years has been a bit of an issue. But as long as he's pitching in relatively outfield-friendly parks, he can live with those warning track fly balls. So I'm not really excited for either side in this one. When we look at going against Quinn Priester, I think it's perfectly acceptable to stack up the Mets. But remember, Milwaukee has a decent bullpen, and they're not going to leave Priester out there far too long. How do you want to approach this game?
Sorry, which one?
Milwaukee and the Mets.
I had a brain freeze. So Milwaukee's lineup came out. It's a little bit weaker than normal. We talked about Manaea. No Yelich in there for Milwaukee. I like Manaea here. You know, he's expensive. He's not impervious to getting hit. I certainly don't like stacking against him in this spot with so many other weak pitchers today. As far as the Mets side, I could see playing some Mets here. Again, like they're not going to stand out in projections. Priester's been really good against right-handed hitters. He's been a lot better overall since struggling to kind of break out in the majors. But he still has the propensity to get hit by lefties. So we know the Mets have a couple good ones or a few really good ones in Soto, Lindor, and Nimmo. So those guys would be guys that I could see targeting. I don't really want to full stack the Mets here. Definitely don't want to full stack the Brewers. Probably a game more so for the pitching for me, even though I doubt I get to either of those guys either because they're expensive. So kind of you talked about the Atlanta game being a both sider. This is a no sizer for me.
Yeah, and sorry, I did not have that refreshed. Bryce Terang and Christian Yelich not in the lineup. They did go with an entirely right-handed lineup. Actually lowers the average strikeout rate to about 19.3%. So still two players suck against lefties when it comes to strikeouts. That would be catcher Danny Jansen, and then all glove, hardly any hitting outfielder Brandon Lockridge. Let's continue on here. 2 more games to go. We'll talk about tiers. We'll give some home run calls and we will answer any questions. Slade Ciccone, I'm still going with him. You said it best. You're paying for the matchup. You truly are. He does not have a ton of strikeout upside, but this matchup does provide that opportunity. On the other side, would you roll the dice with Davis Martin against your beloved Cleveland Guardians?
Probably not. I mean, I don't think he's the worst pitcher in the world, but he's certainly not very good. This Cleveland lineup has been better lately, especially since they called up CJ Kayfus, who I mentioned yesterday, hit a homer yesterday. Yeah, I think this is definitely – we didn't talk about the Guardians as a stack, but they're right in that mix of being one of the top stacks on the board. I have no interest in Martin here. It's the Guardians or nothing from this game for me.
Top 4 and Kayfus?
Yeah, I don't love Schneeman, but, he's cheap hitting second. The only really guys I like a lot are Ramirez, Manzardo, and Kayfus.
And we move on here to be on the right tab. Last game, which we talked about the pitching a little bit here. We have Zack Wheeler. We mentioned apparently, what is it? Shoulder fatigue or was it an impingement? Did you read anything up on?
I think it was phrased as shoulder stiffness.
Okay.
It's pushed him back a couple days.
What does that really mean? They could have just said,
we don't know.
Tired arm, dead arm, right? Just pick one of your baseball platitudes there. In any event, he, as Matt mentioned, you did get him pushed back a couple days here. Still, arguably the most talented pitcher on the slate. And then a potential discount dandy there with Patrick Corbin. The thing about Corbin is all his years with Washington, a lot of the Phillies have a pretty good history against him. Corbin been much better this season than he was with that under the weight of that massive contract that paid him out literally a gazillion dollars from Washington. He is on a 1 year, I think it's $1.5 million deal with Texas, and has actually been serviceable. Anything you want to mention from this game?
Yeah, if you're a BVPer, I mean, I think you can just stack Philly and say
they have sizable sample sizes, man. Yeah. They really do.
And call it a day. I mean, all of them. Real Muto, Harper, Schwarber, Stott. I mean, all of them. I've seen him and hit him well. He's been better this year. They're expensive. I'm not stacking Philly here, but I don't think they're a bad stack. But they're not because of the BVP, because they're a really good lineup, and I don't think Corbin is that great. Obviously, I'd rather stack Philly than Texas here. We talked about Texas a little bit. No real interest in the stack, but I will call out Corey Seager as a one-off. 4,500 is cheap for him. I don't even mind playing him in like a Wheeler lineup to get different. Wheeler's going to be really, really popular. So, that's one part of it. The second part of it is you're not rostering thinking he's going to go a complete game shutout. A big part of why you're rostering him is because of the strikeout upside. He can give up a couple hits. Seager is, for my money, the best point per dollar shortstop on the board today. So that's, irregardless of Wheeler, don't mind pairing them together. Certainly if I'm not playing Wheeler, Seager's my top shortstop on the board.
All right. DeWitt DFS says that you can't spell ship it without BVP. Got to use that P. All right, tiers. This is for Amy, who took down the DK $5 tiers contest last night for $1,000 on one.
Shouldn't she be reading these to you?
She should. She really should. So here we go. Perhaps I'm just her good luck totem. She makes the clicks, and I just talk. It's a winning combination. So
she's just pulling the strings.
All right. So I think in tier 1, I want to go with Nick Kurtz because I'm going to do my best to stack up that Baltimore Athletics game. My second choice would be Aaron Judge. He will be super popular. Third choice would be Jose Ramirez. If we go to tier 2, I think it's pretty easy to go with Gunnar Henderson today. He should get to go against 2 righties with Morales and likely Osvaldo Vito. In tier 3, I like Francisco Lindor, but I want to stick with the game in Camden Yards, so I'm going to go with Shea Langoliers. I think it's nice seeing Cody Bellinger down there with this assorted points per dollar. So it looks like he's last, but he is in a good spot against Alexander. If we go to tier 4, it's going to be Westberg at the bottom there against Morales. I think your second choice is Pete Alonso. You can get a nice little Met stack here with the few because you can pick up Nimmo in tier 5 as well. So you can easily get 3 Mets. But in tier 5, let's see, what do we have? Jazz Chisholm, I think, is appealing, as is Ben Rice. Who would you pick, Ben Rice or Chisholm against Alexander?
Give me Jazz here. I just think his upside's higher. Part of the allure with Rice is the catcher position. Give me Jazz.
All right. And then tier 4, looking super thin. Only 4 players in the starting lineup amongst the 8 options. Seager, Torkelson, Contreras. And I got to finish this out with Holiday. I would say Torkelson against Kahanowitz would be my number 2 choice. But as long as I'm talking and Amy is making her picks, she should do well. So there we go. All right. I've entered that in the $1 single entry contest. We got what? Oh, we got plenty of time left. So Humboldt says, why does my name have different numbers behind it? There's something has changed with how YouTube is displaying usernames. Someone explained it to me. Essentially, you have your display name, and then what it's showing now is your default name. So most of us have not changed the display name, but somehow you may have changed it or signed up a long time ago with an older account, and this just is now what they're displaying. It does not appear to be any rhyme nor reason with that. Let's run some sims here just to have a little bit of fun. How many lineups are you doing today?
1.
Do you want to mention your staff?
I mean, I think people can kind of get a read of it from the show.
All right. Who did not make your lineup on the pitching side?
Who did not make my lineup?
Yeah.
Lots of guys did not make my lineup.
Who is the last guy out? Who was your decision point that is going to haunt you today?
I liked Casey Mize.
Okay.
I liked Manaya. I didn't get to either of them. I'm playing Wheeler and Povich. I'll give that away.
Okay. I think that'll be semi-unique there. Yes, at Fistula Poop 876 just does not have the same ring. Totally true. Running these sims here. What else we got? The Volume King Bellman. Bellman is very selective. The great thing about DFS is there are so many ways to win. There's even more ways to lose, but there are a lot of ways to win. You got to find your niche, how you want to play. I've reinvented my game style multiple times, depending on what I'm trying to do. Now I'm trying to win some tickets to the DK Best Ball. I've got 52 entries in. I'm sitting on 50 tickets, so I got to get 48 more tickets there. So I have changed what I am doing. I'm not building out 150. I'm building out 10 to 20 lineups on League.
To your point earlier, you kind of alluded to it, and you kind of just made it again. Like, especially in MLB, really only you could stack any team and make like positive ROI lineups. Like, so there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. To your point, there's also a lot of different ways to lose, but can't get too bogged down on like specific plays, you know?
See that? Oh, Extract has 3 Pocket Cup tickets now. Good for him. I haven't been playing. I've been mostly playing on FanDuel and then playing a few ticket contests there on DraftKings and, of course, my Yahoo lineup. I just have my one ticket over there, but that's going to be fun. Tom Krieger's a little worried about how often you talk about skinning cats. Okay.
I mean, it's a common. I don't know about common, but it's definitely a phrase.
It is. It's kind of funny that I bet that one sort of that's going to go by the wayside, like the bee's knees. It's got to be wearing out a little bit.
I mean,
So funny enough, running 150, the top two pitchers that are coming out on the lineups are 95% Zack Wheeler and 37% Cade Povich. Matt, sometimes he knows. Sometimes he knows. To me, that's a lot more Wheeler than I would want to play. I'd be more comfortable with about 40%. But that is the unfettered crunch here, or the unfettered sim. KC coming out on a quarter of the lineups. Ooh, Cleveland coming out on a quarter for the stacks. Minnesota 21%. So we look at that, and you really see that that first game that is on DraftKings only is stacking up very, very heavily there. Let's do a quick one here on FanDuel and see what pops up. Fortunately, I get to make my FanDuel lineups after the show here because I did not want to compete with giving you guys information. What do I do different when I'm building for tickets? I set it for like a 250 field, and a lot of times I will just use the single lineup generator and build out 8 or 10 teams.
You know what I can't believe?
What?
You know, we're obviously got some time searching for things to talk about. We never even talked about the afternoon slate, which is
We absolutely have to. Let's do our home runs, and then we'll talk about the afternoon slate because there are 5 really good matchups here. So who is your dong of the day? Some would say dong of the day. Dong of the day.
I did a show at Spag. I did the show at Spags last Saturday, and he was singing.
Yeah.
That. Were you watching?
I went back to see what he did. He didn't do very much at the end.
I knew you were. I knew you'd watch it at some point. I knew it. I even made that joke that I knew you'd watch it. My dong of the day is an easy one. Last time Bobby Witt wasn't in the Royals lineup, the Royals went off for 8 runs against Colin Ray less than a month ago. Vinny Pasquantino hit 2 bombs. He's going yard again today. Give me Vinny P, the Sasquatch.
All right. I am going with Gunnar Henderson because he is on a ton of my lineups. I did a preliminary run, and I know he's going to be on a lot of them. So that will be it. Yes. So I was out on a hike last Saturday. So we went up to the head of a lake and did not have internet. So we were gone for 8 or 9 hours. So that was why I was not on the show. But yes, I did go back and look just to see, because I thought, let's see what Spags does. But he's embarrassed now by the greatness of that song. I'm just embarrassed. It's very sad.
Something like that.
Quickly looking at FanDuel, and then we're going to talk the late slate here. We get the unfettered 150. Oh, look, Gunnar Henderson on half the lineups. Should have known. Zack Wheeler coming in 37%. I'll probably cap that on FanDuel around 25, maybe 30. Corbin and Fried, next most popular. I'm okay with that. I'll probably bump Ciccone up just enough to get him double the field there, but he will be on at least 1, potentially 2 of the 6 lineups I will build in the single lineup sim, just for a little bit of differentiation there. If we look at the stacks, Detroit. Wow. I was not quite expecting them to be that popular. 1/3 of the FanDuel stacks are Detroit. I like the Motor City Kitties. That's good. Baltimore coming in at 26%. The Guardians, 21%. We like the top 4 in their lineup. And then everybody just kind of feathering in between 8 and 10% after that. If we look at the late slate today, I wrote this up in the Top Stacks and Spotlight Pitchers article, but this is going to be a good one because you have a variety of pitchers. Like literally every game has a decent pitcher and a bad pitcher. So there are so many paths to goodness here.
I don't know about that. I get your point. I don't think it's like that. Like, I don't think Adrian Hauser's a bad pitcher. You know, I don't think he's good, but I don't think Brian Bayo is a bad pitcher. I don't think Eric Lauer certainly is a bad pitcher. There's a lot of really good pitchers facing okay pitchers.
Yeah. So the Lauer's had great numbers this year. I'm a little less excited about the Dodgers because of that.
Right.
Arizona is just jumping everywhere because they're going against Tanner Gordon. In his last 2 starts, he has 5.2 innings. He's faced 37 batters, 14 runs, 7 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 3 triples, or 2 home runs, 2 triples. He only has 3 strikeouts. So you can play literally anybody. Yesterday, I liked the Rockies. 2 guys got there. Those were 2 of the guys I had in my lineup, Tovar and Doyle, but the rest of the team only scored 5 runs. Today, I think you want to go with Brandon Pfaadt. I like him more than I did with Eduardo Rodriguez. If we look to the pitching, Brian Wu is the easy click. He is averaging the fewest pitches per inning in the league, 14.18. All 22 of his starts, he has closed out the 6th inning. He is now tied with the league lead with 16 quality starts. That's all impressive stuff. He's going against the Rays, who, of course, are without Jonathan Aranda, Arnada, which
you had it right the first time.
Damn it! I was going from memory here. I was like, "Where's the N? Is there 2 N's or 1?" So they really only have Lowe, Diaz, and Caminero are the main worrisome guys. Dylan Cease been a little bit unlucky, but you know what he's doing? Striking players out. Last 32 innings, 45 strikeouts. That is beyond impressive. He has a 4.8 ERA, but a 3.2 xFIP. He's been unlucky. So he's got a lot of strikeouts, but he has been unlucky. He has about 7.5 strikeouts as his line today, which is very, very good these days. Justin Verlander is going against the Washington Nationals. Verlander now 42. I'll be shocked if you get more than 5 innings from him today, but he should be positioned for a win because it appears that Mackenzie Gore has forgotten how to play baseball. He seems to do this every July and August. This is the 3rd consecutive year. Now, I did hear a couple people say his velocity is down. It's not down noticeably. His movement is not changed that much. I read a few different articles on it as well, just to see what smarter people than me were probably saying about it. And the best one I found was they're saying he has kind of that weird motion when he falls off the mound and does a delivery. They say it's hard for him to consistently hold that for an entire season. Okay.
Well, either way, we're not playing him here.
We're not.
The Giants aren't play against him. I think for pitching on this late slate, Wu looks good, but he's the 3rd highest owned. So I don't think he looks like head and shoulders the best. Cease is too cheap at 8,900. Tough matchup, but he's just too cheap for his strikeout upside. Brandon Pfaadt, way too cheap at 6,700. I think it's those 2 guys, Wu and Glasnow, as the guys you're really looking at. Yep. Verlander, sure, but I'm much more intrigued with stacking Washington than Verlander. Guy doesn't miss many bats.
Sure.
Has gotten a little lucky. And then everyone else is just a guy.
Did you know that Tyler Glasnow throws with his right hand?
I found that out during the show.
Okay. So did I. All right. Quickly, let's look at top stacks here for DK afternoon. Is that? Nope, it's not that. Is it that one? Yes, there we go. Dylan Cease, 35% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. Wu, 30. Glasnow, 28. Pfaadt, 27. So those are the guys you want to focus on. For DK, if we look at FanDuel here, let's so Texas, how does one forget how to play baseball? Well, if you remember Chuck Knobloch,
I knew you were about to say that. I knew it.
Throw to first base.
Yes.
Who was the other guy? Rick Ankiel.
Yeah, good call. Forgot about him.
Himself into an outfielder, which is impressive to do. Here and there are some players that have had some challenges.
It's a hard sport.
Yeah. Let's get to why did that not do what I wanted it to? I don't care. Whatever. FanDuel, mess me up here. Let's go to FanDuel. Is it night? No. Is it FanDuel?
They don't even have afternoon slates.
They haven't posted it yet. That'll be up in the next lineup run. That's why I can't find it. Yeah, FanDuel loves to not release their slates because somehow that will make people sign up for the earlier ones. it's a self-defeating purpose, because if you don't have the later slates up, it's less time for them to sign up for it. Anyway, FanDuel will get a FanDuel. Steve Sachs, yeah, that was the other guy that had some challenges there as well. Favorite stacks for the afternoon. Arizona, number 1. I like your call out of Washington.
Yeah, give me both sides of that Washington game, Washington and the Giants. I like both sides of that game.
Yeah, I'm good with the Giants there. Good. I actually had Mackenzie Gore. I've dropped him on a few of my season-long teams. He's just been so bad.
He's been awful.
Don't want to deal with it anymore. What else do we have? 3 minutes until lock. Did we cover everything? Weather. Let's do a quick look there. Looks like it's slight chance of rain in Chicago, but it looks like that should not impact things. And then scattered showers in Atlanta will only be an issue if they pop up over the stadium. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching today. It was kind of fun. We talked about the late slate. We talked about how you guys can sign up for the Stokastic link join promotion. You can also get the Stokastic avatar, finish top 3 in any contest with at least 5,000 entries. That's first, second, or third. No 50-way ties for first. But if you do that, tweet to Stokastic HOF on Twitter with your Stokastic avatar visible in your screenshot, and you can earn various levels into the Stokastic Hall of Fame. That gets you free Sims package. First one is a single sport for a month. Second one, you get it two single sport packages. You win it a third time, you get a full month of Sims for free. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. But with that, we are going to get on out of here. You guys can find Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMACDFS. And of course, it is Stokastic _COM. With that, gamers, good luck.